It's finally time to do the Onsra versus the Evolve. So here we go. Couple things up front. I recorded this entire thing yesterday, spent hours on it. I go to look at the video and start putting it together, and it was really windy and the GoPro didn't cut the wind out for some odd reason. So here I am again. I'm going to do the whole entire thing over again, but if any of this wind comes into the mic, I'm just going to run with it. Sorry. In this video, I don't intend to tell everybody what board to buy. What I intend to do is give you the information that you need to make an informed decision on which board will work the best for you. So here's what I did. I came up with 12 categories that I wanted to look at for each board. But not each category should be held to the same weight. The buying process is important to me, but it's not as important to me as, we'll say, the hill climbing ability of the board. The buying process lasts until you get the board, and then it's over. So I figure, okay, well, let's give those types of things 1 point. We'll give things that are pretty important 2 points, and then what I find the most important 3 points. So what I did, I just took the 12 categories, I made 3 zones, and I put 4 categories in each zone. I'm going to show you what I'm using to grade the boards, but you need to look at this list and figure out where each of these categories fit. Take for example, I put top speed in zone 1, only worth 1 point. Now if top speed is really important to you, then you need to move that over into zone 3. What I will say is try to keep it 4 categories per zone. No board is perfect, right? So you need to come up with the 4 most important things to you, then the 4 things that are important, and then the 4 things that, yeah, they're there, but they're only going to be worth 1 point. So take a look at my list, see how I graded these boards, come up with your own list. Grab a pen, grab a paper, pause the video, come up with your zones, 3 zones in 4 categories per zone, but put what you think is important in each one. I'm going to go through every single category. This is going to be a long video. It has to be in order to give everybody as much information as possible. So I'm going to go through every single category and let you know who won between the Evolve, GTR Bamboo, and the Onsra Black Carve. Couple things right up front. As you can see, the Andra has the polyurethane wheels with the 40T pulleys. I tried to keep this as fair as possible. So the Evolve ships a 32T pulley and polyurethane wheels. That's how they ship their street setup. What better way to compare, in fairness, the Onsra, how they ship their street setup? It's the 40T pulleys with the 97mm polyurethane wheels. Both of the boards have the smallest pulleys that they offer. So the smallest pulley for Evolve, 32T, smallest pulley for Onsra, 40T. More importantly, this is how each company ships their street setup from the factory. That was the fairest way that I could do it. And it's also the smaller pulleys with the smaller wheels. I think at the time that I bought the Evolve, you could only get the 97. Now I think they finally got their board builder back up and running, so you can go into the 80s on the wheels. But 97 urethane, smaller pulleys, smallest pulleys. That was the fairest way that I could do this. So zone 1, I have purchasing, top speed, support and parts, and noise. Those are the things that I still want to make the list that are important, but they're the least important out of the 12 categories to me. So let's go into purchase. Everything that I'm going to grade the boards off of was my experience at the time of purchase. So Evolve, I purchased just a couple weeks ago. It was a great process. They have a great website. I wish the board builder was up when I bought it. Maybe I would have changed stuff, but I'm happy with what I got. And it only took 7 weeks to get it. The Onsra, on the other hand, I bought it when the site first stood up. I had to buy it off of the European site, and I bought it when the boards were first coming out. So it's kind of an unfair comparison. So for me personally, the Evolve one, the purchasing side of it, it was super easy, super fast. They've had years upon years to perfect everything. They have a new website. It's very intuitive. It's very nice. The Evolve won that. Now I will say the Onsra has made a drastic change since then. So Fabian, he has his two sites. His US based site is still up. The European site is still up. But what he did, he kind of commissioned or sublet or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, to a guy in Texas. It's the same guy that is going to do any of the warranty work. So if you have a problem with your board and you have to ship it in, if you live in the United States and you have to ship it in for warranty work, it's going to go to that guy in Texas. Well, he has his own board shop. That's where he's doing all the work. So the way that his site works, it's OnsraUSA.com. And what he's doing, he's just buying a whole shipment from Fabian, directly from Fabian, and then he's reselling them out of his shop. Just like a car dealership, just like anything else. He's buying them from Fabian and then selling them from his shop. The prices are the same, but what difference that makes is if he has them in stock in a shop, they're already in the United States and they're going to ship out right away. In addition to that, because they're already in the United States, the shipping from Texas to your house is going to be cheaper, about half the cost. So if you're looking for an Onsra now, the process is going to be completely different. Go to OnsraUSA.com. There's a link in the description, and also Rama 5 will still get you a discount. So Rama for Evolve, Rama 5 for the Onsra, you'll still get a discount no matter which site you buy the Onsra from. I had to get all of that out of the way, but it doesn't change my experience. The Evolve won on the purchasing criteria. So 1 point to Evolve. Next, let's look at top speed. Top speed, not really important to me, but to some people it is. So here's the top speed runs with both of these setups. 97mm polyurethane wheels, 40T pulleys on the Onsra. Remote said 29 miles an hour. We'll see what GPS says. GPS said 28.5. So it has the 32T pulleys and the 97mm wheels that it comes with from Evolve. We are in GTR mode. I don't know if you can see that, but I promise it's in GTR mode. Here we go. Wish me luck. $22, $23, $24, $25, holding at $25. So right in between $24 and $25. As you can see, the Onsra has the top speed. So 28.5 is what GPS said, and that's on pretty much the same basic setup. 25 for the Evolve and 28.5 for the Onsra. Now, if top speed is your criteria, you got to realize that the 28.5 are kind of the slowest the Onsra goes. If you change out the wheel, if you change out the pulleys, you can actually get it a lot faster than that. I've taken it up to 32 miles an hour, but I won't go faster than that. I think with the 40T pulleys and the 120 clad wheels, of course, you get the torque on the low end are going to suffer, but it's capable of over 35 miles an hour if you're willing to do that. So, top speed, Onsra gets a point. Now let's look at support and parts. This one's a hard one, and I'm going to kind of break my mold on this, and I'm going to personally give each board a point. I'll explain it. You decide which board gets a point. So the Evolve, their website is a lot better, and they have all their parts broken down compared to the Onsra. So you can go onto the website and see a lot more different individual parts. Like you want just the belts, just the motor, just the bearings, stuff like that. Onsra is getting there. They're just slowly to get to that point, but they are getting there. Now, with that being said, the Evolve parts are a lot more expensive than the Onsra parts. So let's take, for example, a set of belt and pulleys. They're about the same price. They're about $100 each board for a set of belts and pulleys. But the Onsra is metal pulleys and the Evolve plastic pulleys. If you look at just the belts, maybe I'm looking at the site wrong. Tell me in the comments if I am. But when you go to Evolve's site, they sell their belts individually, one each, and they're $30 a piece. So it costs $60 to have an extra set of belts if you go through Evolve. So yes, their site is better, but I think the actual product support side for Onsra is better. It may be harder to buy it, it may be harder to find it, you might have to email them, but once you do find it, it's going to be either cheaper, or if it's the same price, it's better quality. I like the metal pulleys over the plastic pulleys. So for me, both boards on this case get a point. That's the only category where it was a dead neck tie, and it's the only category that I gave both a point. Now let's look at the noise. The noise, hands down, the Evolve is quieter than the Onsra. That doesn't bother me. I know that it's important for some people. So if that's high up on your list, then you need to put that over in zone 3 and move something from zone 3 to 2 or 2 to 1, or move them around. Noise isn't important to me, but the Evolve wins hands down. It is whisper quiet compared to the Onsra. So now let's look at zone 2. So zone 2, I have build, range, I have carving, and then the controller slash ECU. So I'm not just talking about the controller itself, but I'm also talking about how it reacts or how it responds to the ECU. Now let's go into build. I'm not talking about looks, only you can judge the looks. But I am talking about just the overall build quality. When you get it out of the box, how well is it put together? Just the feel of it, the shape of it, just everything about it. How is it put together? And on this, I have to give it to the Evolve. Now don't take that the wrong way. Both of the boards are built very well, and I really like both of the boards. But I do have to say that the Evolve edges it out with the shape of the deck, how the deck feel, just the fit and finish of everything. The Evolve wins. The Onsra looks super cool in my opinion. I love the shape of the grip tape. I love a lot of things about it, especially with the rubber wheels. It looks mean, low, it just looks sick. But the Evolve does have that final fit and finish. So, good job Evolve. You get a point. Sorry, you get 2 points. So now let's talk about range. This is kind of unfair to the Onsra, I guess. But when I bought the Onsra, it came with a 10 amp hour battery, and when I bought the Evolve, it came with a 14 amp hour battery. Therefore, the Evolve goes further. Imagine that. So the Evolve, the mileage I got on my range test was 32 miles, and on the Onsra, the best mileage that I got was 24 miles on 120 cloud wheels. So, yep, Evolve wins that. Good job, Evolve. You get 2 points. I will say that Onsra is coming out with a bigger battery, but that's not the battery that I had for this test, so Evolve wins. Sorry for that crazy noise. There's a rock quarry on the other side of this hill, and they must have dumped a whole bucket full of rocks into the back of a dump truck. All right, let's look at carving. This one hard. It's harder than I thought it was going to be, actually. So the Onsra, the deck is a little bit shorter. The wheelbase is the same, almost the same, maybe a centimeter difference. Wheelbase is almost the same, but the deck is a little bit shorter. So if you want real sharp, precise carving, then the Onsra is going to win. If you want that nice, flowy, kind of elongated carving, the Evolve's going to win. Now, I'm not saying that they can't do the same thing. The Evolve, you can get the Evolve to turn quickly, and the Onsra, you can get it to go the nice, slow carving. But those are the two things that the boards do the best. So those are kind of tied to me, honestly. I will say where the Evolve just wins, clearly wins, is in two things. 10%, 20%, somewhere around there, it's the deck. So the deck does have that concave shape a little bit more than the Onsra, so you can really get your feet in, you know, and bite with your heels and your toes and really get it to turn over. The flexibility of the deck is more than the Onsra, and that helps when you're bouncing from edge to edge or from one side to the other. So that helps it. But I think the biggest difference, the drastic difference, is the feel of the bushings. The Evolve wins. The bushings in the Evolve are absolutely amazing. So much so that I'm probably going to buy a set of Evolve bushing and put it in the Onsra. The bushing are phenomenal in the Evolve. I can't even describe it. They feel the same regardless. So on the Onsra, when you're leaning over, the more you lean, the harder you kind of have to push to get it to lean further and further. On the Evolve, it's the same amount no matter how steep of an angle you're leaning. And through that entire motion, it's completely smooth. So for carving, I'm gonna have to give it to the Evolve because of the deck shape, the flexibility of the deck, and the bushings. Now, the bushing you can swap over. You can make them almost just right there neck and neck with each other. They kind of are already, but you can make them even closer if you buy Evolve bushing and put it in the Onsra. Now, controller and ECU. This is where the Onsra wins. So in this category, zone 2, build, range, and carving, the Evolve almost had a clean sweep, right? It won all three of them, got 2 points apiece. But the controller and the ECU, the Onsra is going to take it. And I'm not talking about my personal preference. I'm not talking about the 2 buttons on the remote. If you like that, great. I'm not talking about my personal preference. I'm talking about how the controller reacts with the board and the data that you get on the controller. I love the fact that you get percentage on the Evolve. That's the only thing that I have good to say about the controller and how it reacts with the ECU, is that it gives me a percentage and the battery sag, I guess. There's no battery sag. If it says you have 10% left, that's exactly what you have, no matter if you're flooring it, no matter if you're going up a hill, no matter what you're doing, you have 10% left, and that's what you have left. Now, it doesn't tell me my total miles. That's a big deal for me. May not be a big deal for everybody else. But what I will say is Hobbywing has perfected their ECU. Onsra runs a Hobbywing. Evolve's ECU, I think, are proprietary, and Evolve makes it. When you have a company that all they do is focus on the ECU, the controller, how they interact, I think you're going to have a better product at the end of the day. Evolve has a lot more things to concentrate on and perfect, because they're making the entire board. The ECU in the Onsra is just better. I'm talking about that weird braking thing at anything over 16 miles an hour. I'm talking about the initial bite. I'm talking about the way that the controller feels. I like the thumb wheel. You may like the 2-button trigger. What I will say is it's a lot smoother with the Onsra. You get a little bit more data with the Onsra with the total miles. I like the Hobbywing ECU over Evolve's ECU. So you have to decide which one you like the best to give it points. But for me, Onsra, good job. You get 2 points there. So that sums up zone 2. Now let's go into zone 3. Zone 3, I have acceleration, power, hill climb, and braking. Those are the most important things to me on a board, and that's why they went into zone 3. So let's look at acceleration. Here's another category that you're going to have to determine which one works the best for you. The Evolve from 0 to 5 miles an hour is an absolute beast. That thing takes off from the line like nothing I've ever seen. I don't understand it. It has to be in the way that the motors are built, because it has 32 T-pulleys in it. It honestly takes off harder than the Onsra with 45 T-pulleys. It is just a beast off the line. After 5 miles an hour, the Onsra are going to catch it. After 10 miles an hour, the Onsra are going to pass it, and the Evolve's never going to be able to keep up with it. So What's more important to you? 0 to 5 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour up? To me personally, it's 5 miles an hour up. On a ride, I might ride 12 miles and I might stop 5 times. So the Onsra going to win 5 times. But on that same ride, I'm going to accelerate countless amount of times. And that's where the Onsra wins. When you're already rolling, the Onsra going to beat the Evolve. Plain and simple. Now let's talk about power. So power and acceleration can get confusing. To me, they're different things. Acceleration is just how fast you're going in a straight line. Power to me is everything combined and how well it holds up with my weight. So how good is this board going to do with my weight on it? How bad is it struggling? How much of a struggle or how much strain am I putting on the board? And for that, Onsra is going to win. The Onsra with the 12S, I think it's a combination between the 12S and how the motors are built. Probably the ECU also. So the 12S battery, the ECU, how the motors are built, it handles my weight at 200 pounds just way better. The Evolve, there are times that it just kind of struggles. You can tell that it's struggling. The motors heat up a lot. The ECU underneath on the battery tray heats up a lot. Power has to go to the Onsra. That's important to me because I weigh 200 pounds. If you weigh 110 pounds, it probably doesn't matter and it should be in zone 1. But I weigh 200 pounds. It's important. I put it in zone 3. Onsra gets another 3 points. Now let's look at hill climb. So I went out and I got some video. I'm going to throw it in here. Here you go. Watch this video first. Okay, this is the incline test. Now this isn't the steepest hill that I could find, but it's a pretty decent grade. It looks like average it's about 8 degrees, 9 degrees, depending on where I measure it. So let's do this. All right, so here's the Onsra fully charged. Let's get up this hill. Holy cow. 11. 12. 16 miles an hour. Now time for the Evolve. 100%. Don't know if you can see that. 100% in GTR mode. $11, 10, now it's struggling. 11, 10, 9, 8 miles an hour. The Onsra just did 16 miles an hour on that same exact spot. And I'm still floored. 10. Yeah. Huge difference. And I just lost 2% of my battery going up that hill. This was fully charged, just brought it off the charger this morning. The Evolve does not like hills, not with the 32T pulleys at least. So as you can see, that's not even close. It doesn't even compare. Now I know that there are going to be people out there that you want to say, well, if you buy the 38T pulley for the Evolve, it's going to do a lot better up hills. That is very true. It will do better up hills. But you can say the same thing for the Onsra. If I put the 45T pulleys on it, it's going to do even better up hills, and it's still going to crush the Evolve. In addition to that, when you put 38T pulley on this Evolve, it's going to drop the top speed, just like it would for the Onsra going 45Ts. So you have to find that balance on where your top speed's at, what you want to be at on your top speed, and what can still climb hills. Hands down, Onsra wins. It just wins. That was completely floored on the Evolve, and going up that hill, once it kind of lost some of its momentum, it struggled to keep going. Is both of the boards brake really well. They both held me really well down that hill. They do phenomenal. Where one board shine over the other is at extremely low speeds. So anything below 5 miles an hour, the brakes on the Evolve get really soft, to the point that if you're coasting down a hill, it's not going to bring you to a full stop, and neither board will keep you at a complete stop on a hill, but the Onsra does way better at it. So the Onsra still brakes. It brakes harder at the 2, 3, 4 mile an hour mark. It brakes harder, and it keeps you at a complete stop better on a hill than the Evolve does. So for braking, I got to give it to the Onsra. And that concludes all 12 of my tests. If I didn't go over a certain test that you want to incorporate into your testing or into your equation to figure out what board is better, let me know what that is. Like, for example, weight. I don't care about the weight. I don't really carry them around. I live in a one-story house, so I don't have to carry them up and down stairs. It doesn't matter to me. It didn't make the test. Also, in addition to that, the bigger battery is only going to weigh more than the lighter battery. So take, for example, weight. If that's important, comment in the comments what's important to you, and I'll just give you a clear and concise who won that. If weight is on your list, Onsra wins. Smaller battery. It is lighter than the Evolve. The deck's also a little bit lighter. The deck on the Evolve is a little bit thicker, and the Evolve weighs more. But that doesn't matter to me. All right, so that sums up all the criteria. Now I'm going to go into the personal side of things. My opinion, this is only my opinion. Do your research, get a whole bunch of people's opinions, and check the comments below, because I'm going to ask everybody, whatever your outcome was, just tell me who won, Evolve or Onsra, and give it a final point total. So Onsra won 10 points to 9 or whatever. Onsra 10 points, Evolve 9. Evolve 20 points, Onsra 0. Whatever your points are, whatever your point totals are, put it down in the description so other people can look at why, and then they can ask you questions. Well, they can look who won. They can ask you questions on how you determine who won. All right, so for me, it was Onsra that won. And honestly, that's the way I feel about both boards. If you said, Rama, you got to give up one board, it's got to go in, to another home, you can only keep one board, I'm going to keep the Onsra. I know that sounds crazy, especially because the Evolve is the king, right? But you have to look at what type of riding that I do. Most of my riding is on paved surfaces, and most of my riding is on a little bit narrower paved surfaces. Sidewalks, and then trails that are about 4 times the normal width of a sidewalk, but it's still tight and concise. The carving, the way the board reacts, the way the board goes uphill, the changing of all the different wheels and everything else. I know you can do it on the Evolve, but with the 40 and 45 T pulleys that you can get from Onsra, and I can run cloud wheels on both of those, just everything about the Onsra kind of fits my riding style and where I ride a little bit better. Now, I think that there is a place in my home for the Evolve, and it's not in the current setup. I think that the Evolve has pretty much perfected the pneumatic tires, the AT tires. I will be buying a set. I just need to let my bank account recover from buying all the boards. So I'm going to purchase the AT tire for the Evolve. That is going to be kind of my dirt trail board. I really want to start getting on some of the trails that are around me that have dirt on them. The battery lasts a little bit longer than the Onsra, right? It's a 14 amp hour, so when you decrease your range by putting pneumatics on it, the Evolve's going to beat the Onsra. I fully anticipate that once I get the board set up, my favorite for the Onsra probably going to be, because of the additional range, it's probably going to be the 40T pulley with the 105 millimeter cloud wheels. Those are going to stay on the board from here on out. And once I get the AT wheels for the Evolve, those are going to be on the board, and they're going to stay on the board. That way I can just, where am I riding? Oh, I'm riding paved trails, I'm taking the Onsra. Oh, I'm riding dirt trails, I'm taking the Evolve. That's my personal opinion. I know everybody's opinion is going to be different. You got to try them out. You got to do the list. You got to give the points. I'm trying to give you as much information I can for you to make an informed decision on which board is the best for you. So go ahead and go through the entire thing, write down everything, give your board totals. That will help you, and then look in the comments to see what everybody else got and what everybody else thinks about the two boards. I do have some viewers that own both of the boards. I'll tell you right now, I know the person, well, not personally, but I know he's going to say the Evolve beats the Onsra hands down, and that's his personal opinion versus my personal opinion. So do your research before you spend this much money on a board. What do you think about them versus? Is this how you want me to do the verses from now on, with a point and just throw in some videos here and there and talk about it? Or do you want to see something different? Throw it in the comments. What did you think about this video? What did you think about the outcome? What was your outcome? What are your thoughts and opinions? Throw it all in the comments so people can read that, engage with each person individually, and figure out which board would be the best for them. Thanks again. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thank you for all the comments that you guys put in. I've reached out to a couple different companies now. I'm a very small channel, and what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get people discounts on certain things, like the cloud wheel discount, right? That didn't just develop out of thin air. I'm trying to get discounts for everybody, and right now, because I'm small, my biggest argument is, yes, I only have 500 and some change subscribers, but look in my comments and see how engaged people are, and that's how I'm getting the discount codes for the subscriber, for the viewers that I am. So thank you so much for doing that. You're helping yourselves out, you're helping everybody else out. More to come with the discount stuff. I have a couple things in the works. I mean, I have 30 emails out, but 1 or 2 have actually gotten back with me, and we're working some stuff out. I'll be getting some more accessory for the boards here shortly, and with that will come the discount code. So subscribe, stay tuned, keep commenting, be safe. Thanks everyone.